The Transition Network, or the Transition Movement, started about 5 years ago, and it came out of a permaculture background. It was started by a guy called Rob Hopkins originally in Kinsale Island, and now it's found its home in Totnes in Devon in the UK. And it came out of his recognition that we needed a lot more than just knowing how to grow food if the potential of peak oil and climate change really hit in a big way. What you see is the role of transition in this community where there are gaps that we could fill as a community, or if you have a particular pet project that maybe you've been kind of thinking about for years but you thought, oh, I can't do that on my own. And it's really what Helena Norberg-Hodge is talking a lot about. How can we relocalise our communities so that if something does go down and the trucks aren't running like they stopped in the floods last year, that we've got food, that we can look after ourselves, and also to cut down on the energy that we're using as a planet, which is going to be necessary for us to be able to continue as a species. We're really focusing on how can we strengthen our community, how can we create resilient local community so that if anything did happen, it's not going to be such a big shock to us. Things are put into place so that we can cope with whatever comes a lot more effectively. And actually it has been used in Christchurch, so it really came into play after the earthquakes. And in Japan, in Fukushima, there's also transition movement in Japan that we're able to take action. And it's really exciting to see that this initiative has spread virally around the planet, even to India and Portugal, and to villages and islands and cities all over the place, because everyone's recognising, or not everyone, but there's people everywhere who are recognising that we've really got to do something. To understand... We've been really supported by the Byron Shire Council, especially Graham Williams, the Sustainability Officer.
There's a number of different community groups. Transition's one of them. We're keen to support them because they have a really positive vision that fits in with Council's sustainability framework, Council's long-term sustainable vision for the Shire. And the reality is a lot of things can be a lot more effective when you've got the Council and the community working in partnership.
Networking is a really big thing. Apart from our involvement with the council, we work really closely with the community gardens, and they provide the food for our events.
We're here supporting Transition Towns in the screening of their film tonight, and we're providing food to fill everybody's bellies with nice, yummy, luscious homemade scones and yummy pumpkin soup. And then we have lentil and veggie. Well, the community garden is a 5-acre site down the southern end of Stewart Street, where people might think we grow veggies and fruit, but actually we're growing community. It's about bringing people together to share their ideas and their passions and their visions and their dreams and pull it all together, and sort of growing food's what we do on the side. It's good, it's fun. But the community garden is a place where people can just come and drink cups of tea, or they can come and get involved, or they can come and grow. It's anything. We've got a playground for children. We've got art programs, we've got the nursery, we've got seed saving. There's something for everybody. We've got about 136 financial members, and we're really fortunate that the core group of volunteers that come, we've got about 30 core volunteers.
I think it's important, like any community, to have a strong base of people who are volunteering, who are donating their time to various community groups, whether it's the U3A or a transition network or a soup kitchen or a local community garden. Volunteerism and actually having an influence and a say in your community is a really valuable way to be proactive rather than simply let forces bigger than you and your community end up running the show.
There are so many initiatives happening in the Byron Shire. I think this is a really important point. There's so much happening. There is four farmers markets, there's community gardens, there's just so many great people doing wonderful things, and I know that's been happening. I've been in the area myself for 25 years, so I know that there's a lot of dedicated people. So my really my question really is like, do we need a transition initiative here, and what would be the role of that?
Yeah, I agree. There are a lot of activities going on, but sometimes it's hard to know exactly what's going on. And I think Transition Towns makes a really wonderful umbrella for pulling different groups together. It doesn't mean that they have to run everything, but they're just an umbrella body for sharing information.
So I'm really grateful that we're able to do this, that we're able to use the council chambers here as a free venue for the transition group to show their films. And other groups are also able to utilise that service as well. They just have to do a one-page form and apply to use that venue. And that's one way, a really practical way that council can support community groups.
And I think that the power of transition movement is that it's looking for solutions. It's looking what can we do and how can we be strong as a community together and have fun as a community together and not kind of get lost in the depression of the doom and gloom. So I think that's a really big part of transition, is giving people, like-minded others, to come together and support one another in finding positive initiatives.